Hey guys. Good morning. Good morning, guys. A lot of you guys probably gonna miss this, but some of you guys do see it. This video will be on Patreon. If it disappears, it will be on Patreon because I'm probably not gonna keep it here. But good morning, good morning. Happy Friday, you guys. Happy Friday. I woke up this morning. Well, not I saw it last night also. I just didn't have time to like peep, but I woke up this morning and I was like, why do I see Adele as a thumbnail for NikkieTutorials video, right? And I'm like, oh, NikkieTutorials got to do Adele's makeup, right? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But then I started thinking like, a lot of white women, I don't care if they call themselves Latina, whatever, they're white to me, but a lot of white women, famous white women, like, so it's Adele, it's Kim Kardashian, it's Becky G, it's what's that girl? Selena Gomez, right? Like it's a lot of white ladies who go on NikkieTutorials, the thingy, to get their makeup done. And it's no offense to Nikki. Like, listen, you can't be mad at her for getting opportunities. And that's not, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Mariah. But then it really got me asking, like, because they don't go, like, when they do the little, like, they do their little media tour of YouTube, right? They only go to white influencers. They only go to, like, most of the time, NikkieTutorials, right? But my thing is, right? This issue is a lot. But my thing is like, do they not feel safe around black women? Like, I'm really like asking, because I just want to know, because I'm like, do they not feel safe around black women? Because you see, one thing about these situations, I'm like, you see, this reminds me of why I was like, F YouTube. This place is like RACISM, like a mug. Hey, 13, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Because not only was the like to me is it a racist, like it felt very racist, and it's like, can this is really interesting because can you say that an app is racist, right? Because after all, it's technology. Like, can you say that an app is racist? You know, on the surface you might say like, you know what, no, because people's behavior, because you know, since the app runs on code, it runs on algorithm, right? Based on how people engage with the algorithm, especially if you add that artificial intelligence to it, the app just adapts to what people like to do with the app, whether it's good behavior or bad behavior, right? The algorithm will adapt because it's AI. Like when you make a move, it just gets smarter or it starts wanting to predict your behavior based on how you engage with something. So it's like, well, can an app really be racist, or is just that people behave a certain way that causes the technology, the code, the AI to favor a particular group over another group? You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, like an app really can't be that racist because it's how people behave, how people engage with an app that creates a certain environment, right? That's number one. Now, the other thing you could also say is that humans write code, right? Like the code that runs the technology is not written by itself. It doesn't write itself. It's written by people. And the majority of people in tech are predominantly white boys. Hey, Ryla, they're predominantly white boys. And then you have white boys and you have Asians, and then you start having Indians, right? In this whole tech thing. So if you write the code, even as and mostly men, right? So you mostly have men in tech writing code. You mostly have white Asians and Indian men writing code, and most of them have a preference for white. So so there you could definitely have bias in code, but the way people engage with an app, the way people behave with an app, the things that they like, the things they comment on, the things that they represent, right? Like it really can it can affect the way the algorithm behave because of AI. Somebody's like, oh, Marlene, I don't think it's a black and white thing. But the reality is everything in this world is a black and white issue. You might have, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, systemically, if black people are poor, it's not because they chose to be poor. Like, everything in this white, you know, everything in this life has to do with the color of your skin. I don't care what anybody says. Sometimes it's very severe how much it has to do with the color of your skin, and sometimes it is not as severe how much it has to do with the color of your skin, right? But we can all say, I'm 36 years old, we can all say that to some extent as a black person, because you see it with Beyonce. Beyonce got snubbed on numerous occasions for album of the year for a white woman. You know what I mean? And considering the amount of work that she puts in, you cannot sit here and tell me like, oh, it's not always about like Beyonce probably has one of the most astounding work ethics. Like I tried to keep up with her doing the B palette. I almost died. Okay. I almost died. Thank God I didn't die though. But this lady is nothing to play with. Like I would be like sometimes I would work out because running is really hard. Cardio is super difficult, especially when you're overweight. Cardio is nothing to play with. And I'm like, how does this lady run and sing and wear high heels and does not lose her breath? This is not normal. This is not normal. And I see why she has a collection with Adidas. I see why she has Ivy Park. Beyonce is of a certain caliber. I wouldn't say she's as high as Michael Jackson because once again, also he's a man. So there are certain difference that there are certain benefits. Hey, baby, there are certain privileges that come with being a man. Also, like as far as like testosterone, as far as like muscle density, as far as like there are other things. So he's gonna have more strength than her because he is men. You know what I'm saying? But Beyonce is of a caliber, you guys. Beyonce is nothing to be played with. You know what I mean? Serena is nothing to be played with. Like these people are crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh, like how do you do these things? How do you do these things, right? These people, they pop out babies. They pop out babies and then they go back on tour. Like, how is this like how is this even possible? Like if you watch Beyonce's homecoming thing on Netflix, like Beyonce almost died. She almost died giving birth to them children. High blood pressure, preeclampsia, whatever she was going through. This lady almost died. And she probably even had a C-section and then went right back to working out so she could have her body ready for freaking what's that thing called? What's that thing called? Coachella. So she wouldn't fail her contract. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when have you ever heard Beyonce not show up for work? When have you ever heard Beyonce cancel a show? When have you ever heard like, oh, Beyonce's, oh, I'm just gonna cancel a tour, whether it's sold out or not? When have you ever seen Beyonce not show up for work? I'm not trying to be offensive, but the majority of white women in her industry cannot come close to the dedication and the kind of like Beyonce gives it her all. Like Adele might have a very sultry voice, I guess. So when she sings, you feel like she's giving her all. That's just the cadence of her voice. But that's all she does, though. She just sits there and that's all she does. I'm not trying to be offensive too, right? And if you're white or if you're not really familiar with Black people, most African American churches, people sing like that. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, like, but if you ever go to an African American church, especially like a good Baptist one, everybody sings like that. Like you'll hear people have notes. You like, I've never heard this before. You know what I mean? And I get a lot of people didn't grow up Black, so I guess this is what it is. But I'm just saying, like, if you grew up Black, like Black African American, like you go to an African American church, when I tell you they give you free concerts, it is insane. Like it is insane. Like I went to Greater Mount Calvary, right? So the church in the hood is 610 Rhode Island, Washington, D.C., right? But I'm like, if you ever go to a Black African American church, child, they give you a full-blown concert with the octaves and the whatever. It's like, how them people have the voice that sound like this? African Americans, when it comes to gospel music, they have chords for days. But because it's Negro music, so it's considered Chitlin Circus type. You know, like, it's crazy. Just like, not trying to be offensive, right? This video will end up on Patreon because I ain't got time for this. But it's like, for example, look at Jasmine Sullivan. You know what I mean? Look at Jasmine Sullivan. Like that, her voice compared to Adele, no offense. But it's like, if Adele can get all this recognition, why not Jasmine Sullivan? Because Jasmine is Black. Because she's Black and she's overweight Black. I don't care. And unlike Lizzo, she does not make a mockery of her. Like, she doesn't use her body and her being overweight to get views. Because she's not trying to say like Lizzo don't have respect for herself, but it's like she wants to be known for her music more, you know what I mean, than doing what Lizzo does. Because at this point, Lizzo, as just like Saweetie, Lizzo has recognized that there's more money to be made being the persona Lizzo than to be an artist. And that's her choice. It's her life. More power to her. And it's the same thing that goes for Saweetie, right? Saweetie has recognized that there's more money for her to be made being a pretty mixed girl, like half Asian, half Black. You know what I mean? She makes more money talking about food and shopping and being a pretty girl, right? She lives off of pretty girl privilege. Not to be offensive, right? But one thing I hate, like one thing I strongly dislike about American culture, right? And American psychology is that In America, people just don't like to tell the truth. It's like we all see it, but people act like, oh no, it's not that. Then what is it? You know what I mean? Like, Saweetie lives off a pretty girl privilege, and she knows she does. Because if a dark skinned girl struggled this, if a dark skinned girl struggled like this over and over and over, perfecting her craft, she would have been canceled to cancel to cancel. But like, what's it called? Saweetie keeps getting chances after chances after chances after chances. Like, when have you ever heard of a celebrity that's already made it going to boot camp to learn how to make it? You see what I'm saying? This is crazy. And even like, and that's where like, and that's where, for as much as Beyonce might be light skinned, for as much as she's just like James, them Creole people, right? But she's just like Jimmy. Like, when it gets colder, they get whiter. It's not their fault. It's genetics, right? If you, hey Shad, if you don't know nothing about them people over here, Chad, but you do have African Americans who are light skinned like that. When it gets colder, they get light. I mean, we all get lighter when it gets colder, but they get like super light and they almost come out white. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, where I respect Beyonce, of course she had to use being pretty. She's a product, right? Of course she had to be sexy. Of course, not to be offensive, because I do love Beyonce, but let's be honest, right? Beyonce has done plastic surgery. You know what I mean? And I can't even judge her for that, because I understand the pressure. The pressure is real. To get to a certain level, you feel like you got to do certain things. Like, like, y'all, this video going to end up on Patreon. I ain't going to lie to you, right? But like the song Pretty Hurts, I think Pretty Hurts, she's talking about herself. You know what I mean? And a lot of times we're like, oh, Beyonce don't be talking much. Beyonce talks in her music. Are you not listening? Pretty Hurts, she's talking about her. She's talking about herself. When she had to be anorexic, when she couldn't eat, when she had to starve herself, she probably made herself throw up. She's not going to tell you that, because it's not a good look. People are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you would do something like that. But at the same time, y'all make it so hard when you don't support people until they kill themselves. We push people to do bad things to themselves to accept themselves. Do you know what I mean? But I'm sure Beyonce had all kinds of bulimia and all kinds of like body disorder issues, because she's like Oprah. If you remember, like, the ages, like, when it was, like, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Aaliyah, Jessica Simpson, Beyonce's weight was up and down, because she's naturally curvy. You know what I mean? Kelly just had the body. Kelly has a body that, like it fits every era, like, every trend, right? But Beyonce is a naturally curvy person. But because she half African. You know what I mean? Like, it's not easy. It's not easy, right? But I'm like, the hard work this girl puts in, from one black woman to a black woman, and it's like, to always get snubbed like this shit hurts. Like, even me, I hurt for her, because I'm like, oh my gosh, because now I'm going through that too, right? And so it's like, nobody can sit here and tell me that in America, oh, it's not always about race. Everything is about the color of your skin out here in the streets. Even when you're super, super rich, it's still the color of your skin. You guys go on YouTube. I mean, you're already on YouTube, but like, you know what I mean? I want you to like look on YouTube, for example, right? And look at her views. Look at Beyonce's views. For somebody who puts that much work in, look at her views. And then you'll see someone like Drake. I don't even know what he does. It's the same song. It's the same rap. It's the same issues. It's the same cadence on every single song. You look at somebody like The Weeknd also. It's very hard for Beyonce to break 1 billion views. Very hard. Even Single Ladies hasn't broken 1 billion views. You know what I mean? And I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy. But it's like, we all see things, but we pretend like, oh, we don't see what we see. Because, oh, it's not socially acceptable to talk about something. No, like, it's not, it's unhealthy. And I feel like this is why, to this day, America still has an issue with the concept of race. Because honestly, I think, yeah, Kelly did it too. Because honestly, right, if America was more upfront about this whole race situation, to me, honestly, Marlene, there's only one race. It's the human race. I'm not of a sub-race. Like, I don't understand this part. We're all human beings. There's one race. That's the human race. That's why we're all able to have children with each other, right? Like, you can, even if you have sex with the dog, you cannot reproduce with the dog because we're not the same race. But a white person and a black person have made plenty of children. Okay? So it's one human race. We're built the same. There's nothing different. The only thing that's different about us is like, it's our phenotype that's different. and where we come from, like geography is different, phenotype is different, but we're all human race. This whole concept of like, oh, there are several races, it's a social construct to create oppression, to make it seem as though one group of people, one ethnic group is superior to another ethnic group. No, it's a human race. There's only one race. That is the human race. If we were different races, we could not have children together. And that's why I don't like to use, oh, I'm biracial. You're not biracial, you're multi-ethnic. You know, and that's the thing. People speak, for as much as English is not my first language, I'm telling you, like, Allah, hey, cuckoo, a lot of people speak English and it's their first language, don't understand what the hell they saying. Just like people say, oh, black people can be racist. Black people cannot be racist. It is not possible. Because like, and for someone to even say, oh, black people can be racist, it goes to show that you don't even understand you don't even understand how can I say this? Like how you say oh my gosh, the mechanics of the word. Because racism, right? Hey Nabina, racism is the conjunction of the word race and then the Latin suffix ism, right? And race is a social construct. It's not even a real thing. It's a social construct for oppression. It's not just any kind of oppression, but for financial oppression. Greed. That's why this whole thing was created. It's for greed, so that one ethnic group can have a justifiable reason in their head, their delusion, to say, oh, because I'm of this race, I get to put you in this box and you get to serve me forever. And then I get to derive financial gains from you because I feel like my race is above you. It's like, no, there's only one race. This is a social construct, right? And then ism. That's the Latin suffix, but that part I know because I speak French, right? But it's like, think of communism. You got communism. You have organism, right? What else? Plagiarism. Like, I don't know. Think of all the things that end with the suffix ism. It means things working together, things working collectively in the efforts of. Okay, so it's like when you say racism, it means an ethnic group of people working together, working collectively in the efforts of. I'm not trying to be funny. Like, I'm really not trying to be funny. But when black people can't even work together to build schools for black children, I'm not trying to be funny. Black people can't even work together to support each other's businesses. One time we got, like, black people are too busy practicing self-destructivism. Okay? We are community, like, how you say it? Like, the structure of communityism. Okay, we are busy working on destroying ourselves. When black people can't even work to look at Black Lives Matter, that thing didn't even last more than 2 days. Okay, look at most protests held by black people. They don't even last more than 48 hours. I ain't trying to be funny. Okay, like, black people don't stay woke for more than 45 minutes. Okay, so please show me where black people have ever worked collectively for anything. Let alone work together collectively to oppress white people. Like, where? We don't even have an army in this country. What army? The Black Panther people tried, honey. They don't shut their asses up. Okay? Every time, and it goes to show you that in this country, maybe in Africa, I don't know, but in this country, black people cannot be racist. Because every time black people try to organize, to become militant, to have their own military, what happened? Who came to kill them? Who came to lynch them? Who came to break it apart and was successful at doing it? White man. So therefore, there ain't no racism coming from over here. What a black person can be is xenophobic. A black person can be xenophobic on an individual level. A black person can be unkind to a white person. Most definitely. A black person can say to a white person, I don't like you. That's rude. You know what I'm saying? Oh, like, on an individual level, a black person can be xenophobic, ethnophobic, straight up ignorant, straight up rude, most deaf. But racist? No. From George Washington to Barack Obama, it took 250 years to have a black president in this country. Every time black people wanted to be free, wanted to enjoy civil liberties, they had to go beg a white person to make it happen. So it's like, how can the people who's always begging white people for everything, for food, for shelter, for freedom, for rights, for guns, for education, for business loans, for grants, we always come to white people for our resources. So how exactly, when we're not self-sufficient, when we don't have enough resources to take care of ourselves because y'all took everything, how exactly can we oppress white people? It takes money to oppress people. It takes money to oppress people. It takes a whole lot of money to systemically oppress people. You know what I'm saying? It takes structure. You need laws in place. You need a whole system, like a whole, like so much philosophy has to be put in place. You need laws in place. You need a whole system. Like you need judges. You need police officers. You need magistrates. You need lawyers. You need a whole system. History books. Oh, it's so much stuff. The media, all that stuff plays into oppressing people. Where? Please, the only famous black, I guess, media thing that you know is Ebony magazine and Jet magazine, and then people broke. In essence, they also went broke. Like I'm just trying to be. I'm not trying to be funny, right? But it's like you like no, black people cannot be racist, but they can be xenophobic. Yes. Like you might be like somebody like even within Africa, people might be from the same country, not have the same ethnicity, and they don't like each other. You have a lot of parents who are, oh, I don't want you to marry this girl from such ethnicity. That's xenophobia. You have African Americans who don't like Africans simply because they're African. That's xenophobia. That's being a xenophobe. That's on an individual, like that's on an individual stuff. Like you are ignorant. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have Africans also who don't like African Americans. That's xenophobia. You have black people based on where they're from. They think their stuff is better than other people's stuff. That's being ethnocentric. For example, you might be like, oh, you have a lot of African Americans who don't listen to other black people's music. Oh, what they saying? Oh my gosh, what is that, right? That's ethnocentrism. Because for you, if you don't hear my nigga, it's not good music, right? Okay, that's ethnocentrism. Then you also have people, I guess, from Jamaica be like, I don't listen to that stuff if it's not reggae, because they think reggae is the best. Okay, that's being ethnocentric. That's not racism. There are other words. There are other lexicons out there besides the word racist. And it's like people are working overtime to try to paint black people as racist. We cannot be racist. We're still broke. How can a people who's asking for reparations be racist? Rich people don't ask for reparations. And if they're owed something, they go and they take that stuff. Like, they don't have to sit there like, oh, would you please give it to me? No. When you say to somebody, can you please give me reparation? Can you please be nice to me? It means that you are in a losing position. Losers ask nicely. Losers have their hand out. Oh, can you please have mercy on my soul? Losers. Losers ask for anti-lynch bill. Because if you had the power, you get that stuff passed. You don't need to ask for help, but you ask because you don't got it. Losers settle with somebody who's half Indian and half Jamaican. But, oh, yeah, she's black enough. Losers. Because what you going to do? You don't really have a choice. You don't really have a choice because you don't really have power. They could have given you a white yardie. Like, they could have given you a white person that was born in Jamaica, like that guy. White yardie, because there was an issue with the white boy that's from Jamaica. There was such a big issue about him, right? But it's like, and you be like, okay, yeah, I guess he's black enough. You know what I mean? Because you'll squint your eyes. You don't have a choice. What choice do you have? You are in a losing position, and you've been in a losing position for 400 years. So you just put up with that stuff. So, no. Black people are in a losing position, and it's really bad. And now they're even losing to China. Okay, so everything out here has to do with the color of your skin. It's just that we pretend. We numb ourselves to it because it's like, otherwise you're going to be angry every day. So it's like, okay, I don't want to be angry with this. So like, it is what it is, right? So that's the thing, right? But it's like, you cannot sit here and be like, wow. Like, even the fact that like, black girls have to be so sexual. So sexual. Like, are you not tired of being this sexual? Like, being so hypersexual? The moment you got on this land, called the Americas, you've been getting sexually assaulted. It's always been about your body. Like, it's always been about your sexuality. Like, you had to breed children out here from people that you like and people that you didn't like. You had to breastfeed people out here that you gave birth to that you didn't give birth to. It's always been about your sexuality. Right? And now we want to sit here like, oh, it's an empowering movement. Trick. There's nothing new under the sun, boo-boo. There's nothing new. Everything just gets rebranded and they sell that BS to you. Because a lot of black people, even not trying to be offensive, but even a lot of African Americans don't even know their African American history. So they just absorb foolishness. And they think they're so revolutionary when in fact you're ignorant. Because it's like, if you're missing almost like 50 years of your history and you only receive 5 years of or 18 years of weird history that you get from these schools, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy to think that you know it all. And you're crazy to think that you are actually empowered. You're not empowered. Because if you were empowered, you'll be mad. You're asleep. And that's the truth. Because to be empowered means that you reckon with the truth. And trust me, the truth is not pretty. The truth is really not pretty. It's not pretty. But it's like this whole Sarah Bartman trope is still alive today. But now instead of them actually doing it to you, they've convinced you so much, you do it to yourself to the point of risking your life, going to weird places so they could kill you. This is crazy. But I ain't gonna say shit though. I don't want no smoke. I'm tired. That's why I decided to focus on makeup because I'm not talking because I'm tired. It's just not my place and I don't get paid for it. So I'm not risking my life or my business or my finances to talk about issues. I don't really care. I care somewhat, but I don't care enough to be the face of et cetera, et cetera. Nope, I do not. But let's go back to the situation at hand though. So I was like, yo, like, because I see a lot of white celebrities go to NikkieTutorials, but then when they do their YouTube tour, like they never stop to check out the black girls too. Like, hey, I want to work with you too. I want to reach out to your audience. But the reality of it is too, like, look at someone like Adele, right? Look at somebody like Adele. And I don't mean no offense by that. I really don't. But she knows that she doesn't really have to cater to black people. They'll just follow her. They will naturally give her support because she sings like a black woman. Do you see what I mean? And that's the thing, like, that's the thing that is so unfair too. Like, that's the thing that is so unfair is that you get to a point where you recognize that white women know I don't truly have to cater to black women. They will come to me. And it is so true. It is so true. Adele does not have to go, and it's like, this is just objective, right? And no beef in this. This is just objective, right? But Adele knows I don't have to go sit with Jackie Aina. You know what I mean? Oh, I don't have to go sit with, who else is out there? I don't have to go sit with Makeup Shayla. I don't have to go sit with Alyssa Ashley. I don't have to go sit with, trying to think who else is black that's really good with makeup here. Give me somebody else that's black. I don't know. That's really good with makeup. Like, we have a lot of people. You know what I mean? But there are a lot of black girls here who are very talented with makeup, right? And a lot of black guys too are very talented with makeup. But she knows she don't have to. Because by default, we are all trained to support white women without anybody forcing us. Yeah, Beauty by JJ or whatever, like, right? We are all trained. And people are like, oh my gosh, look at her, look at her, look at her. And that's enough. White women don't have to do a lot for black people to lose their shit. Right? But it's like, and this is so crazy because last night, I was watching a video by Queen Choma. Right? I was watching a video by Queen Choma and she was talking about black women and like the prices, like how much they charge, et cetera, et cetera. The first point, I was like, you know what? I don't know. But number two, her second point was that black women are so quick to withdraw their support of another black woman for pettiness. And I said, oh, preach, girl. And it's so true. Like with the quickness, right? And not only will black women withdraw their support for petty, trivial stuff it's not even that deep, right? It's not, and sometimes it's like, do you even remember why you're mad at the person? No. Does that make sense? But that's just how we roll. But when it comes to white women, we're very, very forgiving, even though they never make a space for us. They never say, you know what, you go ahead. I've had enough opportunities for a lifetime. You can take this one. I'll sit out. You know what I mean? They might never even recommend you. Like, oh, what about my friend? She's doing so-and-so. No, because you're going to watch anyways. You're going to support anyways. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be offensive, right? And Adele's a great singer. But sometimes when I read some of the comments that black people make on, like the commentaries that black people make on her voice or her music, especially people who are African-Americans, I'm like, did you grow up in this country? Like, are you really African-American? Did you ever have to go to church on Sunday? But you see, and that's the thing, and that's that Negroid, that's that Negro blood in us, because you see the same thing in Africa too. Like, there's no reason why people in Africa are poor, because Africa is like the #1 continent for natural resources, right? It has everything. But like, one thing I've come to realize when it comes to black people, because it's another black person who did it, because it's another black person who made it, because it's another black person who's selling it, it does not have value to them. Anything a black person does, creates, invents, whatever, it has no value to a black person until it is sanctioned by the white people. So you could be black and you could be doing something super awesome. Black people won't tell you, yes, this is great. Because to them, you're black just like them. So there's nothing of value in you. And I tell you, treat people that look like them the way they feel about themselves. And a lot of black people don't feel good about being black. All this black girl magic, black girl luxury, whatever, it's bullshit. Like a lot of black people don't feel good about being black. And therefore, they broadcast that insecurity, the hurt, the shame of the Negro on another Negro. Because they've never been told they were somebody special. They were never told that they're beautiful. A lot of black people did not grow up in households where they were told that they were beautiful. A lot of people grew up without emotional love. Your parents might have provided. My mom's calling me. Your parents might have provided, but you never felt like emotionally you were safe. A lot of black children do not grow up in emotional safety. Don't come for me. I'm innocent. Okay? They don't. Nobody tells them they're smart. Even if they're not good in school, the parents don't go out of their way to find a like not a trade, but to find like art or like fitness or like things like that. Like, oh, my kid might not have good grades at school, but my child's a great painter. My child's a great artist. My child she's great at doing hair. Like black parents don't invest themselves in their children to understand their children. Because they got their own issues too, right? But but they should try a little harder. You know what I mean? Black parents don't go out of their way to make their children feel special. And I don't mean buying them expensive Jordans at the age of 10. That's stupid. Okay? I don't mean shopping sprees. That's not making people feel special. That's teaching children that they need to have certain clothes to be accepted. And that's very dangerous. If anything, that actually hurts their self-esteem. Because what happens to you the day you can't afford to buy those things for them? Are they no longer good enough? That we can never teach children to attach their sense of self-worth or their sense of like, oh, you're going to find a community if you wear Air Jordans. That's dangerous. Because what if he wants to wear sandals? What if he wants to wear Crocs? Maybe not every black kid wants Jordans. Maybe you have black children who want to wear Crocs, and that's okay too. Buying children things is not a way of making them feel special. If anything, it's a way of telling them you're not enough if you don't have X, Y, and Z. And you're starting to create deficiencies in your child. Don't do that shit. It's stupid. Loving children is making time out to understand who they are. What do they like to do? Your child might like to paint. Buying paint equipment. Like signing him up for classes where he can paint. You might have a child that draws. Instead of buying a bunch of stupid clothes, maybe buy him an iPad. And then get him like classes on like Teachable or Skillshare or whatever, so he can learn to push his creativity further. You might have a child that likes to code. Instead of buying a bunch of stupid clothes, maybe buy him a super awesome computer with lots of gig and things like that for the holidays. Let's push our children to be creative, their mind. If you love your kid, to help your child to explore his or her mind and find out what makes them special. It is not clothes. It's not clothes, it ain't shoes. But one thing I have come to realize, right, and that's why I don't take offense to a lot of things anymore, because when you know who you're dealing with, when you know what you're dealing with, it's not going to hurt you anymore, right? Like if you understand like, oh, like, sorry, you guys, my lips are getting dry. I didn't even realize that it's the morning, right? But when you, my bed's not made too, so, But when you recognize that, like, you know what? You're going to be dealing mostly with black people. You have to understand that you're dealing with people who are very broken. They are broken. And the way people respond to you, honestly, ain't got shit to do with you. It has everything to do with them, right? Because a lot of people are not raised to feel special. And a lot of black people were not raised to feel special, right? So it goes without saying that a lot of them don't know how to show love. Don't really know how to show support. Don't know how to see value in other people. A lot of people don't even know how to write a compliment to someone, right? Because they feel like I have so little self-esteem, right? I have so little confidence. I have so little hope. Maybe if I give you if I give you a compliment, it's like I'm going into my little piggy bank and I'm withdrawing from my self-esteem bank, and I can't afford to compliment you, because if I compliment you, I feel like I am less and less successful. You know what I mean? I feel like I am less and less able. And it's really sad. It's truly sad. And at first, when you don't understand, oh, them some hating ass bitches. Well, true, there's some hating ass bitches. You know what I mean? That's unequivocal. There's some hating ass bitches, right? But then once you're past that first initial reaction of like, oh, these some hating ass bitches, you recognize that these are some hurt people. They hurt people. And a lot of people, a lot of black people also are emotionally bankrupt. And when you are emotionally bankrupt, it becomes very difficult for you to say, sis, you're beautiful. Sis, I see all the hard work you've put in. It's so beautiful. I'm happy for you. Because when you are emotionally broke, when you're emotionally bankrupt, when you didn't grow up in a childhood where you felt emotionally safe, where like emotional support was not abundant, you're going to be deficient in life. And a lot of black people are emotionally deficient. They are deficient. And the sad part is we know how to do everything but fix our emotional deficiency. And this is why we are very destructive to each other. Not because we truly want to be destructive, but what you don't fix, right? What you do not fix, what you don't work on becomes a weapon. If you don't fix your insecurities, you will be a dangerous person because you will slander people. You will lie on people. You'll make up stories about people. Whatever you don't fix internally, emotionally, will become a dangerous weapon of harm against innocent people who have done nothing to you. Does that make sense? Like you will find yourself lying on people because you're emotionally bankrupt. You make up stories about people that never even happened because you're emotionally bankrupt. You imagine narratives in your head that can justify you behaving like an animal because you're emotionally bankrupt. Accusing people of like, oh, you stole from me. Oh, you copied me. Like, trick. If you don't sit your emotionally bankrupt behind down somewhere and think about your issues and take your medication and go to sleep and fix your hip, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You see what I'm saying? So you recognize, like, listen, and that's why I'm gonna tell you something, right? That's what I'm gonna tell you something. When you decide to do something, right? And I was younger, so I didn't know this. Now I'm 36, I know this. I'm gonna share this with you, right? When you get to an age and you decide to do something, F people who don't support you. Keep pressing on because the issue is not you. Like, I kid you not. Sometimes you'll put something out there and the response that you get or don't get will make you feel as though there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with your product, or there's something wrong with your business. Ain't nothing wrong. People have a hard time giving people credit because they're emotionally bankrupt. And that's okay. They get to sit with that. But you don't let that stop you. You keep forging ahead because you got to know where you're going. And let me tell you sometimes too, like in life also, your black ass got to be comfortable doing it alone. A lot of times out here in these streets, your black behind has to be comfortable doing it alone. Many times, you're going to have to be comfortable going in this journey by your damn self. And it's okay. Is it really what you want? No. Is this the way you would have preferred for it to go? No. But I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, that's how it's going to go. And that's okay. It is okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? And that's why I'll say this to people, like, don't live a life where you constantly wait for people to validate you, to compliment you, to recognize you. F that. F that. They can keep that. You don't need it. Never be a person that is motivated, that is driven, that is inspired based on how much recognition you get from people. It don't matter. Because motivation, like doing what you're supposed to do, working on what you're supposed to work on, forging ahead, that should be more about character, about discipline, right? Not, oh, my motivation, well, nobody liked my stuff or nobody watched my stuff, so I'm going to stop. No, and I used to do that too. Imagine where I would have been, right? But it's like you just have to give no Fs and keep pushing because you recognize that the issue is not me. I just sound beautiful. Let's keep pushing. And don't let that get to you. Let nothing get to you. Because a lot of people, they're damaged. They're damaged. And you trying to make sense out of that, not only is it a waste of your time, but it's gonna truly make you feel like there's something wrong with you, right? But let's get back to my conversation at hand. I don't want to be here for more than an hour because I gotta go record another look. I'm posting a makeup tutorial tonight. Then I have to edit another one today and post that. Because I'm trying to do like 25 days of beauty, like Vlogmas, but it's like beauty mess instead of like Vlogmas, you know? But yeah, so like you do wonder, like, is it that white women don't feel safe in black women spaces? Because I'm like, Selena Gomez, Selena Gomez. I mean, it's a host of them. You could go on her channel, you'll see. But they never stop at a black woman's channel, right? You know? So like that kind of makes me like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Because for me, I'm like, for someone like Adele, who always talks about, oh, I love Beyonce, I listen to Beyonce's music, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When she said that, oh, that year when she got album of the year for the Grammys and Beyonce didn't, she knew she was going to win. So she took a deep breath and then she went to Beyonce, I guess Beyonce's locker, and then she told Beyonce, like, that she knew she was going to win, et cetera. She made that whole speech. So I'm like, okay, if you listen to Beyonce, you love Beyonce, you're part of the Beehive, then you should understand how Black women need to have opportunities, right? Because let's be honest, a win for white women is not a win for Black women. It is a win for white women, right? A white woman winning or a white woman becoming a billionaire. No, I won't keep it up. I have to be honest. It'll be on my Patreon because I don't want to. We're just doing beauty stuff. Like all the videos that are staying here from now on will be like beauty stuff. I'll do the live here. If I want to talk about something, I'll do the live. But if you want to watch it, like you rewatch it over and over again, please go to the Patreon. So that way it's like I gotta sell my products. But you would be like, you know what? I understand that like opportunity are so few for Black women. Black women are always robbed of great opportunities. So it's like, you know what? Even though I plan to do Nikki, and I'm not saying don't work with Nikki, I will never say that because I don't believe in taking something from another person. I believe in making two things work, right? So you know what? I'll do Nikki, but I also want to do a Black woman. And before I even do Nikki first, let's give the Black women a chance because usually they don't get it. Because I've seen it with Beyonce. I even got a Grammy before she did, right? Oh, thank you, Kevin, right? Like, I will say that. But it's like, no. And that's why you recognize that a lot of, like I said, not to be offensive, but just being real, a lot of white people are very performative in their support of Black women. They're very performative in their Patreon. It's like another YouTube. It's a paid membership though, but it's like another YouTube, and like a lot of my videos are there that I don't want to leave here, But you would understand that, and it's like, but she doesn't because a lot of Black people live on the periphery. A lot of white people live on the periphery of Blackness. They don't really want to be Black. They don't really want to understand it. They just like they hang around the block. They hang around the block, the periphery. They're around the corner, okay? They're around that rim, the perimeter, right? They're around that circumference. They live on the periphery of Blackness, but they don't truly want to understand Blackness because if they truly do understand it, they will have to give up a lot of privilege, which is what nobody wants to do because to be greedy is a huge it's a huge human attribute. Yeah, my pal, I ship to Europe. I do. Does that make sense? Right? Does that make sense? And that's interesting to me. Or it could just be that she's like, well, you know what? If I do, you know what I mean? If I don't do it, they're still gonna support me. Do I think that she will make a great feature on Jackie's channel? Most definitely. Do I think it'll be a great boost for Jackie's channel? Most definitely. But also what I do have to say also sometimes, which is like the white woman, she gonna get smoked for me. But what I also feel a lot of times also about Black YouTubers, especially Black beauty YouTubers, is that objectively, I will always like seriously, and that's just the way my character's set up, right? Objectively, I will always tell the truth. Like I will always tell the truth. I will always be in support of a Black woman, whether she's nice to me or not nice to me, try to hurt me or not try to hurt me. I will always, because you gotta tell the truth, otherwise you become a hater. And I'm an Aquarius. I don't hate, okay? But sometimes also you ask yourself, when certain Black girls are not chosen for certain opportunities, is it also karma? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes also, like, because I don't want it to be like a situationship because I'm not interested. I gotta sell my palettes, right? But sometimes you wonder if certain Black girls or some Black girls are not chosen for these opportunities also. Is it also their karma? And that's why I'm not willing to put an S on my chest to go fight for all kinds of Black women because a lot of Black women do shiesty stuff. Hey, my love. A lot of Black women do shiesty stuff. A lot of Black women sit on their YouTube, talk about Black empowerment, woman empowerment, Black girl magic, but they be on Twitter doing foolishness, right? Or they connive to stop another person's bag. You see what I mean? Like Jackie has done a lot of shiesty shit too. But people don't want to hold her accountable, and that's fine. You might not hold somebody accountable, but God's going to hold you accountable. For as the Bible says, whatsoever a man sows, he shall reap. Do not mock God, because God is not to be mocked, right? You'll do things, people might not see it. Or people might, because one thing I have learned also from Black people, I'll show y'all, I'm 36 years old. One thing I have learned from Black people listen with their eyes. Let me say it again. Black people listen with their eyes. What does that mean, Marlene? Like, for example, if somebody makes a statement, right? If somebody makes an observation, but even if the thing is factual, even if it's truthful, Black people will be like, let me see first who said it before I decide to be like, oh yeah, that's the truth. So I'm like, oh, black people listen with their eyes, not their ears. Because the truth is the truth, no matter who says it. But it's like, yeah, but I'm not going to admit that. I'm not going to give you credit for making a beautiful observation. I'm not going to give you credit for speaking the truth because I don't like you. Right? Or if you're famous, then whatever you say, even it could be so erroneous, right? It's oh yeah, I agree with her. I agree, I agree, I agree. And I'm like, you see, did you actually read the statement? Or you just saw the person and say, you know what, I concede, I give you my vote. You see what I'm saying? But the thing is, I thank God for God and I thank God for nature because whatever you sow out here in the streets, you're gonna reap it. You're gonna reap it. A lot of black girls do shiesty stuff. They do grimy stuff. They're not really nice. And you see, and when you don't work with a clean heart, and that's the truth, right? When you don't work with a clean heart, when you play a part in setting people behind, there's an angel that watches over everyone. I'm telling you. That's why I say to people all the time, have nothing to do with somebody's downfall. Because where you think you're stopping somebody's bag, when you think you're stopping somebody's favor, there's an angel of God that's going to work also against your promotion. So don't do things like that because karma is very real. Karma is real. Karma is real. And a lot of black people are very deceitful. They say one thing in front of YouTube to get black women to support them, to get black women to buy their stuff. A lot of black women are in the business of lying. They are emotional fraudsters. They are emotional scammers. They be out here scamming. They out here doing something that is the truth is not in them. The fear of God is not in them. A lot of black women have renounced God for YouTube success. And I'm not saying like you shouldn't be sexy or whatever, no. But you should never take God out of the equation because when you was a nobody, God was there for you. And that's why when I made my eyeshadow palettes, not to be like, oh, I'm a better Christian than nobody. I'm not going to say that. But I don't care what it is. I will never deny God. And sometimes I do struggle with forgiveness. Especially the person I'm married to. Let's start there. I don't know. My dad and my husband, those two just get on my nerves. Like, but because I love them so much, right? But it's like you do struggle with forgiveness. You do struggle with letting things go. We all have issues, right? But I make a freaking effort to not harm people. And I'd rather sit in my room and cry. I'd rather open a journal and write how I feel than to go like just bring negative energy to people. I check myself hard. You know what I'm saying? You will never see Marlene involved in no foolishness. I don't conspire to hurt people. I don't conspire to bring harm to people. On numerous occasions, I have put my life out there to go help a black woman. On numerous occasions, I've been on the phone to help a black woman. On numerous occasions, I have taken flights to go help a black woman. And every time, you guys, insult, degradation, it's like the behavior. When I tell you I have PTSD from dealing with black women, it's not even a joke. How evil people can be. And that's why it's really hard for me to say, oh my gosh, this person is racist. A black person can do something to another black person that's worse than racism. Facts are facts are facts. You know what I mean? Because when somebody looks like you, you have a tendency to put your guards down because you feel like, oh, we look the same. We come from the same place. So we going to understand the struggle. Like, you know what I mean? Hell nah. They're going to hurt you so bad. It's like, but dang. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, people will have an issue. Me, Marlene, and I'm going to say this, take it how you want to take it, right? For me, Marlene, and that's why I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Me, I can forgive Jeffrey for using the N-word because I'm like, he was raised to be ignorant. Most white people are raised to be ignorant. Like the way we have this consciousness today, it was not like that. White people used to go out here unchecked. And he grew up in that era. He was raised in that era. So I'm like, people went and voted for Joe Biden, who wrote a whole crime bill and locked up how many generations of black people. But you can't forgive a white boy for using a racial slur. He shouldn't have used the racial slur. He's been punished for using the racial slur. It's enough. It's enough. But you'll see a bunch of black women or black men do so much harm to black people, and you're just, oh, it's okay. Oh, it's okay. Oh, it's not a big deal. Nah, stop the foolishness. Stop the foolishness. Why does pain only matter if it's a white person who inflicts pain on a black person? That's not okay. Because it's actually worse. Can you let's say somebody on the outside hurts you or betrays you versus a family member betraying you. That's worse. That is worse. That is actually worse. And that's why I will always say this. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. People can take it however they want to. Me, Marlene, I sat my ass here. I watched a whole bunch of Jeffree Star videos, and he inspired me. He motivated me. When I look at the work I have done, when I look at my collections, when I look at like the way I push myself, I am very proud of myself. Because I was humble enough to be like, you know what? This white boy, there are things he understands about makeup. He understands things about packaging, about selling to people that I don't. I don't. And I don't have to like somebody. And then on top of that, also, if you're a real Christian, which a lot of people, they're not, a lot of people throw that word Christian out here to act like they're like like morally superior to people. But you don't get to call yourself a Christian and you don't even read the book. There are requirements for Christianity. Because to call yourself a Christian, it means that you're just like Jesus. You're like Christ. Therefore, you are a Christian. A lot of y'all, you just like yourself. Or you just like the devil. Ain't no God in you. There's no God in you. There's no Christ in you. There's nothing in you. Because a child of God knows how to repent. And that's what God said, that David was a man after his own heart. David is trifling. David is hella trifling. But he knows how to say, you know what? My bad. For this right here, I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. And he knew how to go fast. He knew how to ask for forgiveness. Zacchaeus, that short dude, the midget dude that Jesus found, he said the same thing. He said, when I'm wrong, or if I've wronged somebody, I will pay them back 4 times for what I did wrong to them. That's having God in you. Cornelius did no harm. Job did no harm. When you fear God, when God is in you, you see God in your fellow human being. But a lot of black people do not see God in their fellow human being. Like, even I might not like a bitch, but God made her. I might not like this mofo, but God made him. And if you love God, you also have to love what God has made. Even if you feel that what God has made is a goat, okay? Even if you feel like what God has made is evil, even if you feel like what God has made is imperfect, that's fine. But that's something that God has made. Just like you might not like your siblings, I get it. But if you love your mother, do no harm to your siblings because she loves all of y'all. You can't say, oh, I love my mom, but I'm hurting my siblings. You don't love her because that's her flesh. That's her flesh. To be a Christian is to understand love. Not the love that, oh, it makes me feel good. That's lust. Or love that, oh, I love you as long as you're nice to me. That's stupidity. You're immature. When we talk about love in terms of Christianity, we're referring to 1 Corinthians chapter 13 that says that love covers a multitude of sin. That love is forgive, love is humble, love is kind, love is merciful, love is long-suffering. A lot of people out here don't know what love is. They want people that are, you want convenience. You don't want to love. To even be a Christian is to be just like David. Though he slayed me, still I praise him. You don't have that in you. So sometimes you do wonder if some people, it's not their karma. So that's why that's why I personally, I decide to not defend people no more. Because yeah, on the surface, like it could be a lot of things. Oh, it could be racism. It could be whatever. That's true. But at the root of it too, though, people play a role also in their own demise. Like, because a lot of people do bad things behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Sometimes, a lot of times, some of the things that you want, especially opportunity, right? Especially opportunity, especially exposure or going viral. Like, these are not things that you can pay for. You really cannot pay for them. It's truly favor. A lot of things is truly favor. Like, if somebody sees you, whether your spirit resonates with them or your spirit does not resonate with that person, it's favor. It's favor. And favor is not something that you can bribe God. He gives it to whoever he wants to. At any moment, somebody could have been here struggling for 10 years. Well, oh, you know what? This is it. You're going to make it tomorrow. And by tomorrow, boom, all your problems are fixed. Like, what the heck? What happened? Favor. And that's what Pastor John Jenkins says, favor and fear, but it's mine. Okay? But favor and fear. And this is why in your life, you should always be a kind person and be generous. Sometimes people might not be able to pay you. People should not always have to pay you. It's okay also sometimes to be nice to people. It's okay sometimes to be there for others. But when you want to make everything transactional, well, then other people will apply that same energy for you. You know, like, for example, a person might need $100 To you, $100 might not be nothing, but you don't want to give it to the person. But then here you are, you need like $10,000. There's somebody out there who has it. There's someone, $10,000 to them is nothing. They could just give it to you. Like, oh, here you go. But if you deny the person in need, you also gonna be denied. And that's the moral of the story between Lazarus, like the poor guy Lazarus and the rich man. He would deny Lazarus. He would see Lazarus every day begging, but every day he denied him. Now that they're dead and they switch roles because now he's in hell and Lazarus is in heaven, they call the bosom of Abraham. He's like, oh, Lazarus, come get me. Lazarus, go tell my brothers. He's like, nah, it don't work like that. And that's what the Bible says. What you can do for your brother, for your sister today, don't tell them to come back tomorrow. If you can help somebody today, help them. Because there's something that you're praying for, you don't have enough money to get it. There's something that you're praying for, you don't even know how to get it. But because you release your grace, because you release your mercy for another person, God's going to have somebody else release mercy on you. And that's what the Bible says, that the heart of the king is in the hands of God. God decides. God decides. And I think if more people knew a lot more things spiritually, people would make it their business to become friends with God. Because when you're God's friend, a lot of things he will reveal to you. A lot of things he won't deny to you because you're his friend. And when people have a real friendship, they help each other. There's a lot of people, when you see people do stuff like being over sexual, being super vulgar, doing all kinds of stunts for fame, because these are people who don't have a relationship with God. So therefore, they have to rely on their own efforts. Right? Foolishness, people doing foolishness for money, doing foolishness for fame, doing foolishness for whatever reason, is people relying on their own intelligence, on their own efforts, because they don't have that favor. They don't have that intimacy with God. So they have to do things of the world to get produce from the world. That's just how it goes, right? But it's like sometimes you do wonder. Sometimes you do wonder, right? And that's what God said, do my people no harm. Because it baffles me, like, why is it that so many Black girls always get overlooked also? And sometimes you have to ask yourself, like, are they really good people? Are they good people in the background? Like, it's a very convoluted issue, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. Because there are a lot of Black people who are also excelling. There's this Black guy, he's from Senegal, but he lives in Italy. I don't know what his name is, but he's on TikTok. And then he always does this thing, like he points something with his hands like that. Like people do things super hard, and then he shows people like the obvious way to do it, like in a super easy way. And then he goes like this. But he's like super famous on TikTok. Now, I think Instagram wants him, so they've also like made the algorithm very friendly for him. So he gets like 2 million likes on a reel. It's crazy. You have this other girl, I think she's from Kenya too. She cracks the joke. She's like, oh, what is time? Time is whenever I decide to show up. Like she makes all these, like she really started popping like during the quarantine, right? Majimbo, I think she's probably Kenyan. But she's like in less than a year, she just like, I mean, her life has just changed so much, right? And it's very chill. No makeup on, crazy glasses. She eats her chips, and she just be stupid as hell. Yeah, Cabby, exactly. So that's the dude he's Senegalese, but he lives in Italy, right? Then you have the other girl, Majimbo, right? So you see, there are Black girls who are effortlessly winning. They're effortlessly being included. That girl, Majimbo, she got a whole Valentino campaign. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes like you really do wonder, like, is it karma to some? I don't know, right? I don't know. That's why I can't insult nobody. That's why I can't say, oh, well, you should do this, you should have done that. I don't know. I'm just asking questions like, do they not feel safe around Black women? Do they feel like yeah, Elsa. But Elsa is winning. She knows everybody. Like everybody follows her. She DMs everybody. She was just in UK for like the fashion awards. Like she knows everyone. But it's like, when I tell you her stuff is like so easy because it's just an iPhone and being stupid, but like people really resonate with her, and it's not forced. It's not forced. It's not pretentious. She's not super loud. Hey, girlfriend, let me tell you. Like, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? It's very chill, but it's super funny. It's super funny. And like, you see, that's favor. That is truly favor. That's God's favor. And it is what it is. So you wonder, but me, I'm not putting my chest out for nobody, because I'm like, well, nobody put their chest out for me. So, I got to sell my eyeshadow palettes, right? But it's like, you really do wonder, though. You do wonder. But my thing is, ultimately, preach what you say. And that goes for both Adele and even for Black influencers also. Like, preach what you talk about. Whatever you're preaching, live that life. Like Dr. King said, character is not what you do in front of people, it's what you do when people are not looking. Because even when you think God's not looking at you, angels are looking at you. Your own shadow is looking at you. The Holy Spirit looking at you. And we got to understand, a book is open. Everything you do out here is getting written. Like, it's getting written. It's written somewhere. And the day you die, you're going to have to answer for what you've done. And that's why I decided to make my motto, hashtag do no harm. Do no harm. Even when people have hurt you, it's cool. Let people go. Let them go. Do no harm. That's what I love. I love Dolly Parton. I do. I love Dolly Parton a lot. I love her a lot. You know, because she's born like the last day of Capricorn, first day of Aquarius. So I don't know. For me, I don't know. To me, she really comes off as an Aquarius. She really does come off as an Aquarius, right? But she's so forgiving. Dolly Parton is so nice. She is such a nice woman. You know what I mean? So she knows who she is. She knows what she wants. She never sold her music, even when she had no money. Because Elvis Presley wanted to buy "I Will Always Love You," but he's like, "Oh, if he buys it, he's gonna own the master." She's like, no, you can borrow my song, but you're not owning my master." Like, what I look like, you know? So, but like, I love Dolly Parton. And then she had her manager. Like, one of her managers tried to sue her, but he did sue her. Something so awful. He was like, because they worked together for years. They had a TV show together for years. She was working with him. And when she left to go pursue other opportunities, he didn't like that. Because he felt like he owned her. Like, oh, she's a woman, I'm a man. How dare she? Da, da, da. So he sued her and he wanted some money. So she paid him. She paid him the money. But then, as God would have it, he found himself in a bigger financial hole than the money he sued her for. So because he was also a country music person, so he had to sell his masters. He had to sell his masters to pay the debt. And while he was being mean to Dolly, and I guess he tried to take her masters, he wanted money. She gave it to him. Like, if this is what you want, you can have it. When she heard what he was going through, when she heard what he was like, the difficulties that he was having, she paid his debt off. I think it was like $1 million, something crazy like that. She paid off his debt. And she bought back his, I think it was like 350, but I guess now it's probably like $1 million, whatever. She paid off his debt. She got the masters back from him. She got the masters that he sold. She paid to get the masters back. And she wrote him a note, put it in the package, and she sent it to him. So when he got the package, he was confused. He's like, okay, like, what do you want? Like, how much do I have to pay you for what you did for me? She's like, nothing. You know, she treated him the way he never would have treated her. And some people might say, oh, you're stupid, you're dumb. This man tried to sue you. This man sued you. He was mean to you. He abused you. Like, you know, he lied on you. He took you to court, you know, because he was very nasty towards her. Why would you do this for him? Niggas saying shit, you know what I'm saying? But she didn't operate on his vibration, because that's not who she is. And that's not who she wanted to be. And I, like me, Marlene, like, I'm not the type of person, or the way I'm trying to be as a human being. I never want to be someone where my behavior is based on how somebody else treats me. Because then that means I don't have character. You know what I mean? I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I want to be. I know where I'm going. I know the kind of woman I want to be. I know the kind of mother I want to be. I know the kind of like business owner I want to be. I know the kind of leader I want to be. And it's not someone who does tit for tat. It's not somebody who does retaliation. It's not somebody who's like, oh, let me see how I can get this heifer to fail. No, because if you fail, I want you to know it was because of what you did to other people. I want you to know it was your karma that came to get your ass, not me, because that's too easy. People need to know there's a God out there, but it ain't gonna be me though, because that's not my place. And revenge doesn't belong to me. It belongs to God. He gonna handle you people. And that's why you never have to lose sleep over people doing you harm. You don't have to lose sleep over like, oh, no, don't. Leave it all at the altar. Like, leave it all to God. He will deal with these people the way they deserve to be treated. And you don't always have to have your ear poked out. Oh, I can't wait to hear if there's bad news. It's so funny because I noticed something. There's a person who blocked me, right? A few people have blocked me actually, but this specific person has blocked me, which is so funny. Like, person blocked me from seeing their business. I'm like, okay, as if I even care. Like, that's so weird, right? But maybe they blocked so they wouldn't have to see my business. I don't know. But the person blocked me on like 2 business pages. I'm like, okay, but somehow the person didn't block me on their personal page. And I'm like, but if you If you went out of your way to blocking all my Instagram for seeing your business page, why don't you block Lena the money girl from seeing your personal page? What are you hoping for? That I come in your DM, that I talk to you? Block it all, boo boo. Block it all. Block, because I ain't coming. I'm not coming. Block it all. If you start a good thing, go through with it. You start, oh, I want to block Marlene. Block me through and through. Because I blocked you everywhere. Block me through and through. Do it. Go ahead and do it. Like, what the heck? Weirdos. Bunch of weirdos. Bunch of weirdos. Because people want to see how you doing. I'm doing just great. I'm doing just fine. I'm living. I'm thriving. And I'm happy. Because people think like, oh, you need a whole bunch of money to be happy. No. There's a lot of people who have money who are miserable. Miserable. I am very happy. Like, I wake up in the morning. I know God has me. I know God has me. I know I'm going to be okay. I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I found a way out of my depression. I can't believe I found a way out of like being hopeless. I can't believe like light finally came. It's not dark anymore. You know what I mean? Like, and I was talking to another friend because she was like, Marlene, like, I feel like somebody did something to you. Like, I feel like somebody put a curse on you. Like, somebody did something to hinder your growth. I'm like, yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Like, based on the things like my mom used to tell me, the dreams that she used to have, right? I think so too. Now, is it pleasant to have to go through that, like spiritual attacks and people doing nefarious things with your name, with your whatever? No, it's not. You know what I mean? But I will say this, for as much as like it was like a very painful 3 years, I'm grateful. I'm grateful because the stuff I had to go through these past 3 years, even though it was like in my depression and going through my struggles, like I got so much closer to God. Like I got so much closer to God because I didn't have nothing else to do. I had time to spend with myself. I had time to look at myself. I had time to redefine myself. I had time to meet a lot of new people, because I was talking to my friend. I was like, you know what? Because maybe if this thing never happened to me, we probably never would have met, right? And today, I could say in my life, I have a lot of people that I know today that I'm so grateful to have them. You know what I mean? When you have good friends, and I mean this seriously, right? When you have good friends, it could be men, women, whatever, but when you have a good circle of people, like nice people that you talk to every day, it's worth more than money. There are a lot of people who have money and have no friendship. There are a lot of people who have a lot of money and they're very lonely. They live in these huge ass houses and they're so cold. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just so cold. So although, like Joseph said, although the devil probably meant me harm, but everything the devil meant for me, it was turned for my good. I really like the Marlene I've become, though. I really do. She's a really nice person, though. A lot more mature, a lot more collected, right? And it's like, and that is something I couldn't put a price on. So it goes to show you, like, no matter what the devil orchestrates against you, because I really feel like I feel like I was like baby Job. I didn't get like the disease and stuff, so thank God for that. But I do feel like I'm like, oh, baby Job in a way. But it's like a lot of things that I went through, just like Job, like it just makes you a better person. And we know at any moment, like God can restore you. But it's really nice. It's really nice when even when you go off the road or like the devil puts you off the road on that journey too, you get to meet some really awesome people. You know what I mean? You learn to like what a real friend is, like what a real sister is, right? You learn what like true fellowship is. You learn what like, learning to be patient in all things, like learning to just be happy, to be grateful. You know what I mean? I don't know. Would I do it again? No. But it was definitely a great experience. Like I learned a lot. You know what I mean? I grew a lot. I grew a lot. I did things I didn't even know I could do by myself. And I'm like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And like, I used to be the type of person, like I used to resent adversity. I used to like hate for things to, I'm like, why is it so complicated? Why is it taking so long? Why this? Why that? And now I'm like, I'm just happy. I'm just happy like that I get a day to myself to do what I want to do. And I just take it like one day at a time. And that brings me so much joy. You know what I'm saying? It just brings me joy. Even yesterday, I was driving. I was like, wow, it's crazy because there was a point where I truly didn't like makeup anymore. I had so much hate for that thing. And now it's like slowly but surely, like it's coming back. And it's like, wow, it feels good. It feels good to reconnect with something that you truly love. Like I truly love makeup. You know what I mean? I truly love makeup. I just didn't like the politics of it. Like, it's just like, this is too much. But like now it's like, quiet the noise. And there's another white boy that I follow. His name is Nick Bear. Like, he's always training. But it's like, he started off small. Like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, nobody was watching his videos. Like, nobody was paying attention to him. But he didn't care. He kept going with his little supplements. Then in the midst of him starting the business, he got deployed. First, he had to go to boot camp. Then he had to get deployed. Then he had to come back and resume the business. So he had to like, there was like that wasn't really what he wanted, but he made do. He made do, right? And it's like now Black Friday comes around and one day he'll make $1 million. But in 5 years, it's like, what's 5 years in the life of a human being? It's not that deep. It's not that hard. And it's not that much of a commitment. It's just 5 years. We all can commit to something for 5 years. Like, it's not that deep, right? So, and that's really inspirational to me because I'm like, oh my gosh. Just like yesterday too, I was watching, I saw some pictures of Jada. Wait a minute. Because she has a collaboration with Pretty Little Thing. And so some of the pictures they took, like the color, I saved it. Like it was very warm, very orange. It's really, really nice. Oh, one day I would love to do like to have that set up for my YouTube videos, right? But it's like now it's not so much more about like instant gratification. What am I going to get out of it right now? What I want right now. It's more so like, oh wow, like welcome the journey and see where it takes you, because all those things that you have in your head, one day they will come to pass. One day they will materialize themselves. One day, and it's no pressure, it's no trauma, it's no stress. Like it's just a good old, it truly, truly is like a good old time, right? So you know, but it's like, don't be sad about your situation, you guys. Like whatever you're going through, don't be sad. You know what I mean? There's even in the worst adversity, there's always something beautiful to learn. You know what I mean? Even in the worst of like financial crises, right? There's always something to learn. Like even in like your most defeated days, the days you feel the most defeated, there's always something to learn. We learn, like we just like, you can make something beautiful out of a nightmare. You can make something beautiful out of nothing. You can make something beautiful out of like just you by yourself. You can do so much. Is it fun? No, it gets exhausting. But just like Beyonce, you get to a point where you actually appreciate hard work because it's gonna make you so much better than most people. When you I was saying in another video, but when you have to work so much harder because you're Black, initially it's annoying. I was like, what the heck? Why am I getting charged for this? Like, because it's like it feels like sorry. It feels like you're paying a tax, like you're being taxed because you're Black, definitely. I see what you're saying. Hold on. Gotta fix this tripod thingy. Hold on. Okay, sorry. It definitely feels that way, right? But it's gonna make you better. It's gonna make you better. And you're not always gonna get everything you should get, but it's definitely gonna make you better. And you're gonna produce more than other people. You're gonna produce way more beautiful things than other people. And and that's where you should find like your joy. That's where you should find your peace. It's not so much like, oh, how much did you sell? How much did you make? No, it's more so about like, look at the quality of my work though. And that's beautiful. And that's how you build your reputation. That's how you build your character. You know what I mean? That's how you get a whole lot of things done, right? Because you see, a lot of times for us Black people, like we don't get opportunities like that. Right? We don't get opportunities. A lot of times for Black people too, especially Black women, you're not going to get that many opportunities. They're going to be very few. You know what I mean? They're going to be very few. And other people, especially like white women, for example, they get a whole lot of opportunities, right? Like they get a lot of opportunities, some great opportunities. Like you are borderline jealous, like, damn, can I get some? You know what I mean? Because it seems like everything just goes to them, right? But I do believe that even us also, like as Black women, maybe we should also learn to, hey Maria, maybe we should also learn to work together. That'd be a great start. You know what I mean? Maybe we should also learn to support. Maybe we should also learn to be there for each other. Like, and stop expecting everybody to kiss your ass. Stop expecting everybody to always like you or to just approve everything you want. Like, or like let people be themselves, right? And that's why I told you, I said, like, look at Africa, for example, right? Yeah, we had kingdoms in Africa, but we didn't really have empires. We didn't. Because Black people don't know how to build empires. They might know how the little kingdom, the little success, but like, how do you expand that and take over? That's not something that Black people are good at doing. Very seldom do Black people know how to build empires, right? For various reasons. We don't trust people. We don't like people. We don't know how to lead. We don't know how to forgive. We don't know how to be organized, structured, and things like that. So there are various reasons why we don't have empires. We usually have kingdoms, like little kingdoms, and we think we've made it. And then before you know it, they're gone. They're gone. And nobody even remembers them because they're gone. So that was my observation for today. I was like, that's crazy. But I don't know what you guys think though. Like, I don't know. But it's like, it makes you think, It makes you really think. It's like, why doesn't it happen for black girls too? Like, why did even for Megan the Stallion too? That was kind of shocking to me because I mean, I know it's Revlon that paid for it, but I just feel like for Meg the Stallion too, like being a black woman, always talking about support the black women, promote the black women. I didn't really understand why for her makeup tutorial on YouTube, her first makeup thing with another influencer, a beauty influencer on YouTube, I didn't understand why Megan wouldn't have done it with a black person. You know what I mean? I'm like, you're a black girl. You make money off a black girl's image. The majority of your audience is black women. White women are not listening to Meg Thee Stallion like that. I don't care what anybody says. You know, white women are really into Katy Perry. They are really into what's the other girl? Taylor Swift, right? Like, you know, white girls tend to listen to white girls. You know, no offense, right? But it's like the kind of music she makes, that raunchy music, nigga music, that's really for a black demographic. You know what I mean? Black girls, like white girls don't, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, once again, I'm like, so even when you also have like black power, like when you have black superstars also, we're like, oh yeah, I want to go on YouTube and talk about makeup and talk about my makeup collection, but I'll do it with a white girl too, right? What does that really say, right? That, yeah, once again, you take your black audience for granted because now you want more. So like, oh, I want to go acquire the white audience because I want them to like me because I see how much so and so is making, right? You know what I'm saying? No, they're not. I don't know if you really know white girls like that. No, they're not. And don't confuse, and I'm gonna tell you this, right? Do not confuse, like, when I'm talking about white girls, let me be very specific too. When I talk about white girls, I'm talking about Anglo-Saxons. And by Anglo-Saxons, I mean like the British, people of British ancestry, people of French, and like people who consider themselves European. Do not like Europeans, right? Like I'm talking like Anglo-Saxons, like them European people. I'm talking like people who fought World War II together. Like, so it's like what? It's Great Britain, it's France, it's Belgium, it's America, like people who share a common ancestry. Don't confuse the Kardashians with like real Europeans. Like their ethnicity is a bit more different, right? So their skin might like their phenotype is white skin, but it's like in terms of like culture, cultural identity, Kim Kardashian is not Anglo-Saxon, right? Like Anglo-Saxon people are not impressed by Kim Kardashian. Like an Anglo-Saxon will look up to Paris Hilton, right? Like Paris Hilton, Shania Twain, what's that pretty girl? The lady who's married to like what's his name, McGrath, like oh my gosh, the pretty girl. Like there's a like when you're white, when they're like white British, white Anglo-Saxon, they're not they're not you know what I'm saying? Like, so because you have, and even like, and when you study, like when you study immigration, even amongst people with white skin, there's a lot of segregation there too. You know what I mean? Like the way the Irish were, like when you look at like immigration and like, was it Ellis Island? Is that what the thing is called? Like they didn't think Irish people were good people. They didn't look at Italians as people that were worthy. You know what I mean? They're like, ooh, child, they're savages. So like to an Anglo-Saxon, there was a time where like Italians were savages. Irish people were people that were infected with worms. You know, like I'm not trying to be offensive. That's just the history. That's not me. You know, so when I talk about like white people, I'm talking about really like Anglo-Saxons, right? I'm not talking about and the Spanish too. Because Spanish people also, they're Europeans, right? I'm not talking about the Kardashians, like these kind of like gypsies, like, you know, because that's what they are. You know, like most people from whether Armenia, they're considered gypsies. You know what I'm saying? Like they're considered gypsies. And maybe because I don't know if you've ever traveled to Europe, but I can tell you this, being somebody of, you know, French speaking African, like, you know, me growing up, not, I didn't grow up in France, but like going there a lot, being around, like I grew up, like I went there a lot. I lived in England for a year. Gypsies are not treated well. Like when you watch like when you watch the cartoon, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, you know, like even though their skin is white, and I'm not trying to be offensive, right? I'm just gonna draw a parallel real quick. I don't doesn't mean that I believe that, just for the sake of you understanding it. But they're treated the way Mexicans are treated here. Because Mexicans have white skin too, though. It's just a bit darker, right? But it's like to be a gypsy, ce qu'on appelle les gitans. Like they're treated horribly. Yeah, they're treated horribly. But that's the thing in the, like that's the thing like in America, for example, right? That's why I say like if for example like take Anastasia Beverly Hills, right? Anastasia is like she's from Romania also, right? When I'm not trying to be offensive because a lot of people don't know a lot of stuff because a lot of Americans live in a bubble. They don't read shit. Don't know shit. Like they get all their information from CNN or the headlines. Like, a lot of Americans are super ignorant. Whether they be white, they be black, they don't know shit, and they only speak one language, right? But I'm telling you this, like, if for me, because we're the Ivory Coast is a French colony, we know more about European countries, right? When I tell you Romania is the number one country for orphans in Europe, it's concerning. The majority of Romanians grew up in an orphanage. Like in like late 80s, early 90s, it felt like all of them people out there was orphans, children without parents. It's horrible. Like Romania is poorer than Nigeria. Nigeria could I think Nigeria's GDP with corruption is like 5 times or 10 times the GDP of Romania. If it wasn't for corruption, it'd probably be like 100 times the GDP of Romania. But my thing is, Nigeria could buy Romania like 5 times, right? Because it's a poor country. It's so poor. They're gypsies. They're not treated well. But when you have white skin in America, because of racism, because of colorism, you get to assimilate as a white Anglo-Saxon. But for example, like in Europe, somebody like Anastasia Beverly Hills, she would not have made it in France. She wouldn't have made it in Great Britain. I don't even think they would have let her touch people. But in America, because her skin is white and then she gets to make her hair blonde, she can pass for an Anglo-Saxon. And when she talks with an accent, oh my gosh, listen to her accent, it's so beautiful. But if she does that in front of, oh, here we go. Here goes a little gypsy girl. And that's the thing, right? And it's like, and then if you put somebody who's Nigerian from Nigeria, right? A country that is way richer than Romania, you put a black person from Nigeria in America, even though they come from a wealthier country, they assimilate as African Americans, so therefore they get treated like shit. And nobody says, "Oh my gosh, your country's wealthy." It's like, "Oh, the Nigerian scammer." So that's why it's like people cannot tell me that color in this country does not matter. It does. Because the color of your skin, even if you come from a wealthier nation than most European countries, you're still going to be treated like the N-word. Like Anastasia gets opportunities. Yeah, she worked hard, whatever, but she's also white. And Oprah Winfrey takes pleasure in having an all white cast. She does. No, but they're women though. But they're white, Oprah. Stop being stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like people be like, oh my gosh, and I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm really not trying to be offensive, right? I'm not trying to be offensive. But it's like, take for example, and please don't take it the wrong way. Like we're just having a conversation, right? But take for example, when people say things like, oh, it's a big deal for Jackie Aina to have a collaboration with Anastasia Beverly Hills. Why? Why do people say that? Because she's a white woman. Like her skin is white in America, right? Her skin is white. So people assume, oh, she's having a collaboration with an Anglo-Saxon. Well, it's like she's having a collab with a Romanian. Right? And in all honesty, right, if we just go on social economics parity, if we go on economics parity, if we go on GDP parity, if anything, Anastasia should be like, oh wow, we're doing a collab with a Nigerian. They're so rich. They could buy our country 4 times. But that doesn't happen because we are in America. And in America, no matter how great you are as a black person, no matter how rich you are as a black person, as soon as any white person, it could be a homeless person from the street that just took a shower and put on a suit, that person takes precedence over your behind. That is the truth. Right? Like, and I'm not trying to be offensive, so please don't. But there are Nigerian girls also, and I don't mean, I'm not being shady, I'm being honest, okay? There are Nigerian girls who have beauty brands, right? Like they have beauty brands. Like you have Juvia's Place, that's Nigerian owned. You have Omoa Beauty, that's Nigerian owned. But nobody's gonna be like, oh my gosh, I just bought Juvia's Place. Oh my gosh, I just bought Omoa Beauty. Wow, I just bought something from a Nigerian, and that's such a wealthy nation. And oh my gosh, that's luxury. No, because you are trained to believe that anything that comes out of Africa is shit. Because black people don't produce shit and black people ain't shit. Right? But I bet you if they were from any country, whether it's a Slavic country or an Anglo-Saxon country, that white skin be like, oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, right? But you're not going to do that because a lot of people are ignorant. And that's the problem here in America. A lot of people are ignorant. They're very, very ignorant. They're super ignorant. And it's not just white, it's even black people here. They're super ignorant. Does that make sense? They're super ignorant. So like me, Marlene, like the GDP of the Ivory Coast is not bigger than the GDP of Romania. So I ain't gonna put myself there. But if I was from Nigeria, I would never look at a Romanian and be like, oh my gosh, the Romania. No, because my country's richer. Richer in terms of natural resources, richer in terms of GDP, richer in terms of culture. And it's like in terms of success rate, 75% of US doctors are Nigerian. So it's like, why would I trip over some? I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I'm African, so I'm arrogant. I don't know. But I'm not tripping though. I'm not impressed. Carry on. Right? So it's like, don't confuse like people with white skin from Slavic countries or like from the southern part of the Mediterranean that, try hard to get black men, to date black men. These are people, even within the European context, are considered to be like the bottom of the barrel. So it makes sense for these girls to want to be with black men because black men are also considered to be the bottom of the barrel. But you're not gonna see a British, like a British, how you say bourgeois, like somebody from like the I don't know. You're not gonna see a white girl from like the bourgeoisie class. You're not gonna see like a real Anglo-Saxon, a real like white French girl running up and down trying to be with a black man. No, she not. What stability is he gonna give her? What money he got? What legacy he got? What family he come from? What does he have for her? Nothing. Nothing at all. Are you kidding me? Like Kim Kardashian is not Anglo-Saxon. If she was Anglo-Saxon, my love, she will be she will be married to Tom Brady. She will be married like to some powerful white quarterback, or like she'll have like a white billionaire husband. But she's not European like that. She's not Anglo-Saxon. So it's like like in Europe, these people are considered to be the bottom of the barrel, and they know that stuff. Like the Slavic countries, it's really bad. I'm talking like Chechnya, Yugoslavia, Armenia, Romania. It's like is it the Basque? They have a name. I forgot. But it's like it's so bad. Like in the 80s, 90s, they were fighting wars all the time. Children impoverished. You guys, have you ever seen white ghettos? Hey, Jesus. You see how the way we have slums as Africans, have you ever seen the slums of Europeans? Hey, Jesus. The way they have HIV out there, the way, and don't come for me, I'm not the baby, but I'm like, the way they die of STDs, the way these girls from Romania, the number one, I'm not trying to be offensive because once again, if you don't know, you're going to think I'm being mean, but I'm not. But when I tell you in Europe, the way they sell these girls into sex trafficking, it is sad. The majority of prostitutes, especially in England, the majority of prostitutes in England are from like Slovakia, Chechnya, them poor countries, but they're white girls. But I'm telling you, that girl right here, that girl who's getting sex trafficked in England, getting sex trafficked in France, getting sex trafficked in Germany, if she was to come here in America, you know what I mean? If she was to come here in America, right? If she was to come here in America, the way she would be elevated, like it's insane. It is insane, right? It will be insane. It will truly be insane. Like she would get a whole different appreciation. But when you're black and you're stuck in this American bubble, like that's all that you know. That's all that you know. You understand what I'm trying to say? That is all that you know. So you think like, oh my gosh, they're white. But if you put them back in Europe, you see that they get treated completely differently though. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what America does. Anybody can come from any country, right? Anybody can come from any country, right? Anybody can come from any country, right? But it's like, when you are in America, your color determines everything. And because people are so ignorant, and because white people here have a lot of power, anybody that looks like them, anybody that is close in phenotype to white people automatically gets a certain privilege because white people dominate. They are the dominant ethnic group here in terms of like money, and like whoever has the most money dominates everything, right? They just dominate everything. So that's what that is, right? That's what that is. So, so please don't think that. But I'm telling you, like girls like Paris Hilton and her sister Nikki Hilton, like them some Anglo-Saxon people. And you see their taste, you see their friends, you see the kind of guys they marry. Like, look at your girl, Ivana Trump, Donald Trump's daughter. You see her husband. These people are not listening to lick me, nigga. They're not doing that. They're not. People who go to Martha's Vineyard, they're not doing that. Even J-Lo, when J-Lo was trying to make it, yeah, she was with the black people acting ratchet. But when she started to be like, you know what, I want to really make it in Hollywood, she started going for the Anglo-Saxon, Ben Affleck. She was messing with her Latino people. Now she's right back to her white Anglo-Saxon boys, right? Ben Affleck. You know what I mean? The people started shooting in the club. She's like, oh, no. I don't want to be attached to that. I need to be attached to the things that make these white Anglo-Saxon women feel like I'm one of them. You know what I mean? But J-Lo moves like an Anglo-Saxon. You know what I mean? Because you guys, these people, they're very particular. Like, look at the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. These are Anglo-Saxon people. And look at how they move. They're like, oh, no. So, like, they're two different, like, yeah, their skin might be white, their phenotype might be white, but there are two different categories of black people, right? Does that make of white people too? So, but when you're from here, when all you know is America, and America doesn't do a good job, right? America does not do a good job teaching people. America doesn't do a good job teaching people about. America doesn't do a good job teaching people about what is it called? World history, global history, foreign history, international history. So people don't know a lot. So they think every white person is like, oh my gosh, that's a white person. I need to like bow down. It's like, not really. Not really. Like, you know what I'm saying? You like, you know what I mean? Like, you like, I don't know. Because if you say something and people have never heard it before, or they're not used to that information, they think you're being mean, or they think you're shaming, or they think you're whatever. But anybody who's ever lived in Europe, anybody who lives in Europe, they know what I'm talking about. They know about the human trafficking of girls from Eastern Europe, girls from poor countries in Eastern Europe. They know how they're treated. But if they come here, I bet you some black rapper is gonna feel like, oh my gosh, that's the cream of the crop. But it's like in a European context, you'll never see a British boy running after someone like that. But in America, you'll see a black guy running after pretty much anything because he wants anything that's white. He doesn't care to educate himself, and he doesn't care to even know any better. So that's cool, right? But like the Kim Kardashians, they go after black men. That's why they do certain alterations to their body. That's why they have certain aesthetic. They cater to black men because they know they're not Anglo-Saxon enough to think. Even Travis Barker, for as much as Travis Barker might be Anglo-Saxon, but doing hard rock metal, probably being a junkie, having tattoos all over his body, like he's also not considered high pedigree Anglo-Saxon, right? He's also like, oh, look at this, poor white trash. He's, who made it by being a part of a huge rock band, but he's not also someone that a girl from a great family, from a noble family that's Anglo-Saxon is going to want to marry. No, like the Kardashians marry a bunch of social rejects, right? They marry people that either society at large thinks these men ain't shit, or they marry other men that other white men are like, no, you're not invited here. Right? You don't see the Kardashians around like men in tech. You don't see the Kardashians around men who are valued $1 billion. Like, no, you always see them with other white men, especially powerful white men, especially billionaire white men, considered not to be nothing. Does that make sense? Like, so you guys, I gotta go. I've been here for an hour and 30 minutes. Been here for an hour and 30 minutes. And so, yeah, so that's that. Right? But I do love y'all though. This video, if it disappears, it'll be on Patreon. Holla at your girl. I hope you have a good Friday. Well, we're coming back today, I think at like 8 o'clock or something. There's a makeup tutorial going viral. I'll put it on Premiere because I like doing premieres. It's pretty cool because when you put a video on Premiere, you get to chat with people. So that's pretty dope. That's really, really awesome. Okay, now I gotta go to work. I don't get paid for this. So I'll holler at y'all. Oh, if you haven't yet, please check out the website. Please buy your palette. I would appreciate your support. God loves you. I love you too. And I'll holler later. Bye, alligator. She gotta go.